I like to start every back to school night every year by saying thank you so much for just the privilege and the honor of being your child's teacher. You are their first and most important teacher, and really I see my job as partnering with you in their academic journey. I say that every year, but I mean it this year more than ever. It really is a partnership between school and home as we tackle this distance learning adventure together. Thank you so much for all of the things that you've done already, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you and your scholars more. It's been fun seeing their faces on Zoom and on Google Meet and just getting to know them. We're all learning a lot about technology and everything already, so it's been an adventure. There are a lot of things that I still don't know. There are a lot of questions that I still don't have answers to. We're all navigating COVID-19 and what it means for school together. So I'll try my best to answer any questions you might have tonight. And I'm happy to reach out to our administration with anything that I don't know. So please feel free to ask questions in the chat, or go ahead and unmute yourself at any time if you want to stop and ask questions. This night is for you. So I just wanted to start by telling you a little bit about myself. This is me and my husband. We've been married for 11 years now. We don't have any children, so it's just the two of us. This is my 6th year at John Adams Academy. I taught 2nd grade at John Adams for my first 2 years, and this will be my 4th year teaching 3rd grade. Prior to working at John Adams Academy, I taught at a little K through 12 charter school in the mountains, and I taught almost every grade level while I was there. And so I've taught almost every grade level, kindergarten through 12th grade, and 3rd grade is my favorite. So I'm super excited to get to know you and just do another year of 3rd grade at John Adams Academy. I love it here. I love the families. I love the culture. And I'm super excited for another year. And this is going to look totally different than any other year that we've ever done. So that's a little bit about me. I think the question that has been first and foremost on everybody's mind is kind of, what does our schedule look like? What is distance learning gonna look like? What are we gonna be doing day to day? And it's gonna change day to day, and we're gonna have to be a little bit flexible this year. So thank you so much for rolling with me and switching over small groups to small groups this week. It's been great to see your scholars twice a day. If you haven't joined us for small groups, we're having small groups right now between 9 and 10:30 in the morning, and so I'll talk more about small groups in a little bit. But this is our current schedule for this week. We are working towards wanting to meet in 2 small groups a day, so 1 small group for math and 1 small group for reading instruction. But we're really getting to know the scholars first. We're doing assessments for reading so that we know which reading group to put them into. So we are working towards a schedule that involves 2 small group sessions a day, but I'll let you know on Parent Square when that will happen. For right now, we're doing a small group in the morning, and we're going to be providing math instruction during that small group, and we're going to be doing our whole group meeting will focus on ELA, and that'll be at 11 o'clock. And we'll be doing this schedule this week and next week. We really wanted to try to get all our assessments done this week, but just in looking at the amount of time it's going to take to meet with everybody individually, we're going to push that out till at least the 4th week of school. So our schedule right now is the current schedule that you have, and we will keep you updated on getting towards this future schedule. All of these slides, all of this content will be available for you to look at, and I'll post it on Parent Square after our meeting. So don't feel like you have to take pictures or write everything down right now. You'll have all this information when we're finished. So this is our target kind of goal schedule that we're working towards. And then up here, you'll see just kind of the approximate daily minute allocations, and this will be flexible and vary from day to day. Sometimes there will be more reading, sometimes there will be more math. It'll kind of vary, but this is kind of what we're going for. According to the state of California, we are supposed to be providing at least 230 minutes of academic instruction. So, and this really varies, by by kid. For some kids will finish an assignment in 5 minutes, what might take somebody else a half an hour. So really we're giving it our best guess. We know how long things typically take in the classroom, but we realize that learning at home is a different environment. So these are kind of our best guesses, and when you see the time allocations, this is our, best guess, but we've never done this type of learning before. So let me know, oh, that took a lot longer than you thought it would, or hey, that's not taking my kid quite as long as you said. So let me know, but these are general guidelines as far as the daily minute allocations that we're trying to follow for the state. The two most important things kind of to be aware of, to know what's going on in our classroom, are our weekly agenda and the Google Classroom. So those are kind of the two different platforms that give you the same thing. The weekly agenda is what I've been sending to you each Monday on Parent Square, and it's also available for your scholars in both the stream and the classwork sections of their Google Classroom. The weekly agenda is a Google Slides presentation, and it kind of has everything that's going on for the week. So it's an interactive slideshow. Each day of the week links to the assignments for the day. So it'll give you kind of an overview of the day, and then this home button always takes you back to the home screen. There's also additional activities in the weekly agenda. These three websites down at the bottom, LexiaTyping.com and Freckle, are websites that we'll use frequently. We've started working in Typing.com. We will introduce Lexia and Freckle in the coming weeks. The other thing, each week we'll have a couple of library options or different resources where scholars can go to look at different books. This bookshelf takes us to our Read Aloud library, where they can click on different books. It'll take them to the YouTube reading of the stories. These aren't required stories, they're just extra enrichment activities. And then this stack of books takes them to a leveled library. These leveled book boxes take them to the EPIC website, which is an online reading library, and there's information on how to log into EPIC as well. The typical reading levels for third grade are levels N, O, and P. So those are, maybe where to start, or those are the on target reading levels. A, B is about a kindergarten reading level, just for reference, and Y and Z is about a junior high level. So you can check out, that is a resource if it's hard to get to the library or the bookstore. So if you're, what should they read? This EPIC library is a good resource. One other thing is this sign on the door that says, "I'm done, now what?" If your scholar is finishing their schoolwork super early and they're really, they're getting it done fast, here are some other options each week for them to check out in order to reach that 230 instructional minutes. Some of these take them to websites where they can have additional practice. Others just give them, we aren't ever going to do every single page in our workbooks, so it gives them extra enrichment pages that they can do on their own for extra practice that we're not going to do in class. And that's what these two boxes are for. So the home button, again, always gets you back home. So this is where you can find, and they can find their assignments each day. Somebody last week when we were meeting had a really great idea and said, I'm having my scholar write down all their assignments in the morning. We're looking at the agenda and we're writing them down in our planner since we don't have homework to write down in our planner right now. So you should have received a JAA planner when you picked up your materials. So writing assignments down in the planner each morning and then kind of checking them off as we go, I thought was a great idea. So the weekly agenda is just where you're going to find all the assignments and information that you need for the week. Google Classroom, see if I can get back. So Google Classroom has the same information in it, but Google Classroom is the place where scholars will go to turn in assignments. So once they're in Google Classroom, there are 3 different tabs. I'm going to log in as a scholar right now. So if I log in as a scholar, this is what it'll look like when they log in. And there's 3 different sections. There's the stream section where every morning I'll post our announcements for the day, and all the links that they'll need for the day will be right on top on the stream. So you can see for today, we had a link for our weekly agenda. Every morning I make a video explaining what's on the agenda for the day. Our flag ceremony link and all of our meeting links are always going to be right on the front of the stream page. So the stream page is where I post announcements. It's just our feed for what's going on for the day. The classwork tab is where they are able to view and see their assignments. The weekly agendas will be at the top, followed by all of our different Zoom links. And then our assignments will be organized and sorted by week. Any assignment that's just a book with a bookmark doesn't need to have anything turned in or submitted. So these are assignments that they're still required and mandatory. We want them to be done, but we don't want you to have to be submitting like 10 photos a day of all of their work, because we know that that's a little overwhelming for everybody. It's a lot for you to take those pictures and for them to upload them, and it's a lot for us to have to look at all of those too. So the assignments that need work submitted or attached are orange clipboards. Those orange clipboards show you that there's something needs to be turned in there. Either there's a document or a slide or a form, or we need to upload a photo for that assignment. So the orange clipboard symbol is one to look at to know what needs to be turned in or submitted for that day. Let's go back to our show. Then, all right. So during our meetings, whether they're Zoom or Google Meet, here are just some of our expectations for the meeting. I won't go through them all, but really we just want it to feel like school. So we know that your scholars at home, but we want the culture to feel like this is school and it's time to learn. So we would love for them to wear their JAA polo, to have their video on so we can tell that they're engaged and involved in learning in the lesson. If they could be in a quiet space, that would just be ideal for their learning. If they have headphones, make sure that the headphones have a microphone so that they can hear and we can hear them as well. We just ask that pets and brothers and sisters and food just kind of stay out of the frame while they're in it. Anything that wouldn't come in the classroom during the school day, we just want to avoid being in the video so that it's not a distraction to scholars and to their learning. So we really appreciate your help in setting the expectations so that we can all learn as best we can from far away. Here's a suggested list of school supplies. Really, this just goes over what you should have received from the school when you picked up your materials. We need things to write with and things to write on, and of course a device that's connected to the internet. If you don't have a whiteboard at home, you can use a Ziploc bag with a piece of paper inside of it, or a sheet protector with a piece of paper inside as a whiteboard. A whiteboard's not required, pencil and paper works, but it is sometimes fun, and it's a little bit easier to see over a camera on a whiteboard than it is on paper and pencil. But you can get by with just paper and pencil too. So we just need things to write with, things to write on, our supplies from school, and a computer. Those are their basic supply needs. Attendance, there's been a lot of questions about attendance. What does it look like to be in school when you're not actually physically at school? So in order to be counted present, I just need to see your scholar in some way, shape, or form. We want them to come to all of the Zoom meetings and Google Meet meetings. They are mandatory, required by the state. But really, if if you can't make it, please just send me an email and let me know, hey, we have a dentist appointment, or hey, we're doing this, or this came up. Let me know if they can't be there. If you're going out of town or if they're sick, just report an absence like you would regularly by calling the school or checking in with them online and letting them know. And all of the assignments that they're missing, this is maybe one benefit of distance learning, is that all of the assignments that they're missing are already posted online. So there's no extra step of having to contact the teacher to get the work. It's all already there. So make every effort to get the work done as quickly as possible after your return. And when we do go back to school, we do love it if you request an independent study if you're planning to miss more than 3 days of school. And you can always do that through the school office. I just wanted to briefly talk a little bit about what we're learning in 3rd grade this year. I love the books that we get to read. They're some of my favorite books. We read Charlotte's Web. We'll start that one in a couple of weeks. Mr. Popper's Penguins will start in January. And then Because of Winn-Dixie will be our final Keep book that we read in the spring. So all of these will be Keep books, and we'll either mail them to you as we get to them, or we'll set up a distribution day where you can come pick them up at the school like we did last week with your materials. Our math curriculum is based on the Singapore math philosophy and theory, and it really involves a lot of mental math, a lot of critical thinking skills, and it's the transition. We start with a concrete model in mathematics, move to a pictorial representation of a concept, and then we teach the abstract algorithm or formula. I've really enjoyed our school's transition to Singapore math. This year we have a new version of Singapore math, but it's the same philosophy and theory behind the curriculum, but we have some more colorful materials. It's a little more child-friendly, a little more simplified, and our publisher is called Think Mathematics. We're going to be starting that Think Mathematics curriculum tomorrow, so I'm pretty excited. We really are looking forward to it. For language arts, we use two different programs. Well-Ordered Language is a classical approach to grammar, and it teaches sentence analysis and structure. And here you can see the topics we'll be covering in our Well-Ordered Language, and that's the red book that your scholars brought home. That's a new, if your scholar's been at JAA, Well-Ordered Language is a new addition to the curriculum in 3rd grade, but it'll be continued through junior. If they stay through 8th grade, they use the Well-Ordered Language curriculum. So this is our first year with it in 3rd grade, and then it continues on up. The Core Knowledge Language Arts program is the same program that they use for language arts in kindergarten through 2nd grade. So we're also using that. That covers our reading and writing. And the thing that I love about it is that it also integrates science and history. So our science and history is integrated into our reading, writing, and spelling curriculum. And these are some of the topics that we're going to be studying this year. We are going to be using a bunch of websites. This is an incomplete list of websites, but once we get access to everything, I'll be sending each of you, each of your scholars, an individualized password sheet with all their passwords to the different websites. You've already used Google Classroom, and all the Google apps can be signed into using the same Google username and password. So the first name dot last name at JAA Apps is the username for their Gmail, for their Google Docs, for their Google Drive, for their Google Slides, for their Google Classroom. Any Google app has the same username and password. The awesome thing about Google is that it's also compatible with a lot of the websites we use. So typing.com and Freckle, they'll use that, their same Google email address, that JAA Apps one, to log into those websites. If your scholar was with us last year, they're familiar with Lexia, and we'll be using Lexia again. We're in the process of shifting them from their class last year to their new class, and so those logins should stay the same, but we'll get that information to you as we get it. The CKLA Hub is our Core Knowledge Language Arts Program's website where they can access the readers in ebook or audiobook form. And we don't have access to that setup yet, so I'll let you know and we'll introduce that as it comes. So right now, today we started reading Aladdin, and so your scholar should have received Aladdin as a PDF document. So we'll be providing PDFs of the stories, but on occasion they may want to listen to the audiobook, they may want to read the ebook. So that website, when it comes, will be really helpful for that. The Think Mathematics website goes along with our math curriculum. There is just one code, so we'll send that out shortly, but it's one code for everybody, and it gives them access to some cool digital manipulatives and math tools that they may want to use in their math. Flipgrid is a video like a video board. It's kind of like Marco Polo, but it's for so it's like a video discussion board. So they can make short videos. Last week we made one introducing ourselves, and sometimes I'll ask them, hey, like, tell what you thought about this character in the story. So it's like our virtual video discussion board that we'll use. And Prodigy is a math game online. It's also a Google login, and that'll be kind of an extra optional beyond the daily work activity. So those are the basic websites. Those are the websites we will mostly be using. You will get a sheet with explanations of all of them and passwords and usernames once we have them for all the websites that we're using. Again, there's not really homework because everything is homework right now, but when we do transition back to school, nightly homework will be reading 20 minutes, practicing spelling words, and we'll have a spiral math review of like 5 or 6 math problems a night. For now, if they have extra time, here's our choice board that we looked at earlier in the weekly agenda. So these are some optional extra things that they can work on if they need extra practice or have extra time. Over here is just one of my favorite graphics that talks about why we should read 20 minutes a night at home. And you can see that scholars who read their 20 minutes each night, they learn many more words per year and score significantly higher on standardized tests than scholars who don't read at home. Reading is the most important thing that your scholars can do to be successful in school. And my goal this year is to read them a lot and help them find books they love and help them to just grow as readers. Grading will be is an interesting process that we're learning more about, but scholars will be assessed on state standards this year. Distance learning is required now, it is not optional, and so we will be assessing all of our scholars on state standards. We'll be sending home progress reports the first quarter and the third quarter, and you'll get a report card twice a year, once in December and once in May. If you want to see how your scholars are doing, I've sent you a couple of invitations today. One on Google Classroom. Google Classroom will send you a Guardian report at the end of each week if you choose to receive it, and it'll just show you what your scholar has turned in for the week, what they've done, and if anything is missing, it'll tell you that it's missing. Class Dojo is just an app that we're using in our meetings just to kind of track behavior and attendance. And so if you want to know, how's my scholar, doing in the meetings? Are they being respectful? Are they sharing? Are they participating? Class Dojo is one that you can sign on to, and it'll send you notifications. If they're doing something right, they get like a green positive point. If they're doing something maybe they shouldn't be doing, then it'll give them a red negative point. I haven't given any of those. I don't like to give those out. And those will never be done in front of the class. Those will always be done in a private, talked about in a private one-on-one conference. If we have to do that, I really am big on positive reinforcement and, showing them what they're doing right and building on that in order to get better and improve. There are a couple forms linked to this slide presentation. One is just to tell me more about your scholar. So if you would, I'll send this form out, but if you click on this link and click on this form, I just want to get to know your scholar. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are things that you as a parent would like me to know about them in order to teach them as best I can this year? And I don't know all the specifics of what volunteering looks like, but if you're interested in volunteering in the classroom or doing prep work at home, go ahead and fill the link to this form out, and I will get in touch with you as we figure out what volunteers look like. Contact me anytime. You can message me on Parent Square. I do have 2 email addresses, one at our johnadamsacademy.org and then the JAA Apps email as well. I primarily use the JAA Apps email to communicate with the scholars, but you're welcome to email me there as well. So there are 2 different email addresses. I will do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. Let me know if there's a problem or a question right away, and I will do what I can to help you out. I'm really excited. I've learned a lot of new things this year already, so it's going to be a year full of learning for all of us. Did anybody have any questions, or is there anything that I can help you guys out with as we're so far? You can ask questions in the chat.
Ms. Sexton, for the grading, so you base it from Alexia or iReady, or like for how did they, for their...
We grade them. We will be looking at Lexia and iReady, but we'll also be meeting one-on-one with them to assess. So kind of like we've been doing, we're starting this week, you know, they're reading to me, I'm timing it, I'm taking notes on that. So we'll do more one-on-one assessment meetings. We'll also be giving them like Google Forms quizzes and tests throughout the week. We'll be giving like slides assignments where they have to drag and drop certain things or type in their answers. So we'll be using those to assess on the standards as we go. And we're really asking that everybody use public and private virtue because we're not at home. We can't see you do every single quiz or test, but we would love to partner with you in enforcing those things. Anyone else?
No field trips then, right?
Probably not. We really hope that maybe, you know, come spring, but it all depends on what happens in the world. So right now, our places we normally go are the Bernhard Museum and the FEA Nature Center. And then we usually do one other that varies throughout the year, and nobody is taking reservations right now. So field trips are to be determined and probably not. I also did want to mention that whenever it is safe to return to school, we'll probably do this all over again, have some sort of parent meeting because there will be plenty to talk about then that we don't have the answers to now. So all the questions about what's school going to be like when we do go back, we'll do this again and talk then too. So. All right, well, if you do have a question, feel free to stick around and ask. I have about 6 more minutes left in the meeting, but that's all I have for you. I will be posting this whole link to this presentation on Parent Square along with those 2 forms, the Get to Know Your Scholar and the volunteer form. So I'd love it if you had the chance to fill some of those out and get back to me. But I hope you guys have a good night and thank you so much for taking the time to meet.